Good evening. Welcome to Scarritt Bennett Center, historic Midtown facility, a conference and retreat center, and we are so grateful this evening for Poets Corner to welcome Rita Maggart and Angel Pontier to our Poets Corner time. Rita is a visual and artist as well as a writer, multi-talented. She's going to be sharing both with us this evening, and it'll be delightful. And Angel has picked up some of Rita's poetry and has been working with her and has written music. Angel is a singer and songwriter and has her own sound studio, the Eastside Sound, and is only one of a few women in Nashville to own and engineer a 24-track recording studio. But Rita, who is bringing her art and her poetry to us, has said, always, always, I must communicate and create. And when you see the gift that she brings to us in both the written and the visual art, you will see how beautifully she communicates. So without further ado, I welcome each of you here in person or on our virtual stream to this evening of delightful artistry.
Hey,
Rita.
thank you. Well, first I will love to thank Donna Patterson and Michael Vaughn for all their help here at Scarritt Bennett, and also I would like to thank Angel for being here and being my friend and my musical buddy for about 20 years now, actually. There's another fellow here named Dave Turner who is an artist, all things digital and all things art, and he's a great editor too. So thank you, Dave, for being here. And just, I will thank my art teacher, Jim Hemsworth, because he's the instructor that has helped me see over the last few years. The first thing that we're going to do tonight is talk about a piece of poetry that I wrote probably 20 years ago, and it's just kind of always been in the back of my mind, in my thoughts, and it's called Dreamer and Schemer. I'm a dreamer and a schemer and a lover of art. My mind is a whirl with no place to start. And then Angel called me about a month ago and says, guess what? I've got some music to Dreamer and Schemer.
Well, I'm a dreamer and a schemer and a lover of art. My mind is a whirl with no place to start. My head aches, my brain pounds with thoughts not so clear. Just wishing and hoping the day would draw near when my dreaming and scheming will finally all come true, and my mind can then rest till the next dreams are due.
Thank you, Angel. You know, we're all dreamers and schemers, and as a dreamer and a schemer, we all have to figure out, when am I going to do this? How am I going to do it? Where am I going to do it? We all need to find a place, a time and a place. And so I'm going to bring up the first piece of art. That's Dorothy. Dorothy was done in a figure drawing class, and I love the way she's posed, and she's looking out, and she's saying, it's morning, and I need to think, and I need to be still, and I need to do my art and be creative. I happen to be most creative in the mornings, but a lot of you might find it afternoons or evenings or even middle of the night to be your most creative. But Dorothy says to me, I meet you here in the morning, Lord, when no one is needing me but you. I meet you here in the morning, Lord. In the morning, Lord, you greet me. You open up my eyes. You draw me closer to you. And like the sun, I rise. I listen to your voice, Lord, as another day begins. You are my new beginning, my hope that never ends.
I meet you here in the morning, Lord. Silence fills the air. When all is quiet, all is still, I come to you in prayer. I meet you in the morning, Lord, my favorite time of day, and the only one needing me is you. I sit, I listen, I pray. I meet you here in the morning, Lord. Day's just begun. My mind's not filled with the sights and sounds that rises with the sun. We meet here in the morning, Lord, like a lover's rendezvous. My heart's renewed and refreshed every moment I spend with you. Oh, in the morning, Lord, will I come to you in the morning, Lord. No one else will do in the morning, Lord. Make straight my way in the morning, Lord, I pray. Well, I meet you here in the morning, Lord, before the madness starts, before the world takes its toll on me. You have calmed my heart, and when night falls and the day is done and sleep is my reward, tomorrow I'll be back again, meeting you in the morning, Lord. Oh, in the morning, Lord. Through the day I look forward to meeting you in the morning, Lord.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
We're going to take Dorothy down and sit her against the stage. Wait a minute.
Oh, with you.
Okay. Am I still okay? All right, great. Before we meet Bruce, I'm going to tell you a little backstory about Angel and I, because we've known each other for probably 20 years. But the way we met was kind of interesting. One year, a lady asked us both to come to her home for a Christmas party. And Angel was the music for the party, and at that time I was a flower arranger and a floral designer, and I did a demonstration and had all these flowers, and Angel had her beautiful music. And so we said, gee, we ought to be, get to know each other, and let's exchange cards, and we'll stay in touch. And then we didn't. We didn't. But you know what? The Lord put us back in that very same place the very next year. So the next year, at Christmas time, Angel comes and she plays her music, and I do my flower arranging. And next thing I know, we exchange cards, and 20 years later,
The rest
we're still
is history.
we're still meeting each other and
That's
having
right.
a great time. And one of the greatest thrills is for Angel to call me and say, "I've got a song I want you to hear. I'm working on it, and see what you think." So when she brings her music in, does her magic with the words that I've written, it's just a real thrill, as you can imagine. But I'm going to introduce you now to Bruce. Bruce was a young man who came to the drawing class, and everybody's doing something different in the drawing class. Some people are working in oils, some people are in acrylics. I've chosen charcoal as my main medium for the last few years, and that's a whole other story of why I think charcoal is just the yummiest of all mediums, and also the most forgiving. I can wipe it off, I can erase it. But Bruce has come several times to our class, and he's come several times, and this day he said, "I want to try something different." So he put his arms up on a chair, and the teacher says, "You know, I don't think you can do that all day long. You really think that you can hold that pose?" Because they come in at 9:30 in the morning, they have an hour for lunch, they sit for 20 minutes, they're off for 5, and then at 3:30 in the afternoon, we're done. And most of the time we're not really done. We photograph the models so that we can finish them up in the next session or two. But Bruce decided he was going to be able to hold that pose. So as the day went on and he got a little more, slumped in his chair and a little sleepier, but he still came up with a wonderful pose. And for Bruce, he says to me, "Here I am at the crossroads, Lord, looking for direction. I say I'm your servant, but I will not take the first step toward servitude. It's so hard to say, I will follow you, just lead. Here I am at the crossroads, Lord, looking for direction. You stand here boldly. I stand here lame. You stand here gently, calling my name."
Here I am at the crossroads, Lord. Here I am looking for direction. Here I am at the crossroads, Lord. Here I am searching for direction. Direction. I say I'm your servant, but I will not take the first step. It is so hard to say, I will follow you, just lead. Here I am at the crossroads, Lord. Here I am looking for direction. Here I am at the crossroads, Lord. Here I am searching for direction. Your direction. Will you stand here boldly, Lord? But I stand here lame. You stand here gently, Lord, calling my name. the crossroads, Lord. Here I am. I need, please, oh please, I need direction. Direction. I need, please, oh please give me direction. Direction. Oh, here I am at the crossroads, Lord.
Thank you, Angel. So I think Bruce takes us into those other thoughts of looking for direction. The next person you're going to meet is a young lady named Ella Grace. Ella Grace is a beautiful teenage girl who is also questioning, also wondering, what's out there? What's the future going to hold? I'm ready for a new adventure. I'm ready for new beginnings. And Ella Grace was fascinating to me, mainly because of her beautiful hair and the shine and the ability to just jump right off of the canvas and the paper and her eyes looking out into the future as she is ready to have a new beginning. And this is something Ella Grace might say. I begin this day trying to understand the importance of new beginnings. Sometimes I feel like I'm dancing one step forward and 2 steps back, and so I begin again. Beginning is not easy, but there's also an excitement in new beginnings, a hopefulness that says, maybe I'm starting over, but I've learned a lot from where I've been, and I will be teachable once again. With your help, Lord, this time, I will take many steps forward and no steps back.
I begin this day trying to understand the gift of a new beginning. I begin this day without a plan. Will today be my new beginning? And I feel like I'm dancing one step forward, 2 steps back. Well, new beginnings, never easy. By my faith, I'm walking blind. It's the dawning of a brand new morning, new beginnings, and leave the old behind. I begin this day willing to start over, 'cause I've learned a lot from where I've been. I begin this day, my heart is open to welcome your word again. And I feel like I'm dancing one step forward, 2 steps back. But new beginnings, can you feel it? Feel the joy rising within. It's a new day for second chances, new beginnings, and let the work begin. Now I feel like I'm dancing, all steps forward, no steps back.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel. Well, you know, in April of 2020, we all were faced with a pandemic. And during that time, it was like, how am I going to use this time? How am I not going to waste this time? So the pandemic project started, and it happened to be a book called Portraits, Poems, and Prayers. And I'd been thinking for a long time how I wanted to be able to put my words and my art together. It'd been on the back burner for a long time. And so it was like, finally, it was really, really ready to go. And Dave Turner, who's here tonight, helped me a lot with the editing and with the book, building of the book. It was just a real joy to put this together. And so actually, I just wanted you to know, though, that after a year of this hard work that we went through, I found a verse in Philippians. And you're just not, well, you will believe it, but it's unbelievable. It says, I'm sorry, it's in Corinthians. And Corinthians says, Paul says, I suggest that you finish what you started a year ago. Carry this project through to completion just as enthusiastically as you began it. How about that? For confirmation for this book to come about. So here we have the first entry from the book that I'm going to tell you about is about a friend of ours named Guy Clark. Guy Clark is a very well-known singer-songwriter, and I think I'm going to have to hold it. He is a poet himself and was very well-known and did some wonderful, beautiful music and wonderful music all throughout his lifetime. And one of the favorite lines from his music is, there's only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. So that's one of his famous sayings. But he had many, many wonderful songs and many really, really fine pieces of music that have lasted a lifetime. And when Guy was interviewed just weeks before he passed away, he was interviewed on public television. And this was what was asked of him. So here's the entry of Guy Clark, and his writing, and the writing about Guy is called The Big Eraser. The Americana singer-songwriter Guy Clark was asked his advice for a beginning songwriter. And with a big hearty laugh, Guy said, write with a pencil and a big eraser. The eraser is a valuable tool for an artist. With an eraser, you can eliminate, blend, soften, and smudge. What I lift off the paper is just as important as what I put on the paper. An eraser can be hard or soft, square or round, large or small. It can be warm or cold. A kneaded eraser is the thinking putty of art. As it's pulled and squeezed and shaped, it allows for a moment of careful thought about the needs of an piece of artwork. Does the drawing need to have things come off or put on? The slightest erasing can make a huge difference in the accuracy of the drawing. An eraser is a powerful tool, and a lifetime of learning is held in your hand with something as small as an eraser. And I just happened to bring a piece of kneaded eraser so that you can see yourself. It can be pulled and squeezed and turned and warmed, and it actually allows you to think while you're working with it. It's kind of like silly putty when we were children, and we used to love to play with it. So Guy Clark said to write with a pencil and a big eraser. The next young lady that I'm going to introduce you to is Amy. Amy has two special places in the book because she's at the beginning and she's at the end. And when you see her at the beginning of the book, you see her with the guidelines and things that are the beginning stages of a drawing. And here's Amy at the beginning of the book, where you see all of the construction marks, things that are going to happen during the drawing itself. And it says that on the inside is where the outside begins. Guidelines, angles, and shadows are found on the inside. In art and in life, the inside is where the outside begins. And then at the very end of the book, you'll find Amy again, which is the final drawing here, and the final drawing in the end of the book. And at this drawing, the guidelines are erased, everything's established to be a finished drawing. And art is finished when it's understood. So that's Amy's contribution. So you can find her at the beginning and at the end. Amy was a student in a photography class that I was in, and she posed for us as a model one day in the photography class. We went outside, and we had beautiful lighting, gorgeous daylight lighting, and she's always been kind of one of my favorite models because of the way she just absorbed that beautiful daylight and became a beautiful drawing in the end. The next person that we're going to talk about is after Amy is a fellow named Jordan. Now Jordan is a fellow artist, and I came into my drawing class one day and I had no idea what I was going to do, what I was going to draw, what I was going to work on that day. And I looked around the room and there was Jordan. He was the artist sitting on a stool working on his art, working on his drawing and his painting. So I said, Jordan, I think I'd like to draw you if that's okay. So he sat very still, so I'm across the room and he's working on his piece of art and I'm working on Jordan. And you can't see this very much, but this is what I'm going to talk about in the upper corner of the page where there's a mistake in the drawing. So Jordan tells us that life is not perfect, and neither is my art. Setting up for a drawing class, I was not sure what the subject matter would be for that day until I looked around the room and I saw another artist at his easel. As I looked at the artist, I knew I must draw him. And in the final stages of this drawing, I decided to cover the background with this ochre color. When I applied the chalk to the board, I saw in the upper left-hand corner that there was a flaw in the surface of the board. There was nothing I could do but continue and make the best of the almost completed drawing. Many things can go awry in life and in the process of making art. But just maybe the imperfections add to the character in life and in art, because life is not perfect, and neither is my art. So when you look a little closer, you'll see that in the paper. Thank you. Okay. Tara is from the days of figure drawing class. And the figure drawing class had to end when the pandemic came along, and the models couldn't come and we couldn't have class, and so that was kind of the end of our of my nude model availability. but I still got a lot of drawings from that class and a lot of photographs. And so this is one that came from the drawing class, and her name is Tara. And my husband kind of laughs because during that time I was photographing the models so I could finish them up as we would after I started them, and if I didn't get them finished in that day. So here in my phone I've got lots of nude models just waiting to be brought to life, and so I had to just be real careful about who was looking in my phone and edit it quite a bit. But anyway, it was a fun. I've always been glad that I've hung on to those drawings and I hung on to those model photography pieces because they keep coming back around. And Tara says to me, you know, I think the term poetic artistry is a good term for this. And if you think about poetry and art are so similar in that you put out something and then you take it back. You have that push and pull, and you try something, and if it doesn't work, you take it off, and you keep going back and forth. And poetry is so much like that because you're editing down to the very end, to the most important words and getting to the essence. Faces are fascinating, and the human form is beautiful. But when art is finely tuned, we experience poetic artistry. And that's what Tara says to me, is poetic artistry. So I also wanted to mention to you that the goal of my art is to capture the essence and the feel and the emotion of the sitter. And I've been recently reading quite a bit about Rembrandt. And Rembrandt did absolutely beautiful portraits. And he always was trying to get to the feeling of the sitter and to know what they were thinking and helping them to communicate through his art. So that's my goal. My goal is to capture the soul of the sitter. And then the last drawing that I'm going to talk about tonight comes from another experience in my photography class, actually, when I was given an assignment. And my teacher said, well, I want you to find a master's drawing, an old master's, and then reproduce it as a photograph. So I'm looking through all my art history books, and I found in Peter Paul Rubens' book an absolutely amazing, it stopped me in my tracks to find this beautiful painting. And it's called The Straw Hat. It's one of Rubens' famous paintings. But I looked at it and I went, oh, that looks like my future daughter-in-law. And maybe she'll come over and be the model, and maybe she'll put on the clothes and the straw hat and the costume, and we'll just have so much fun, and we'll play dress up for the whole afternoon. And we did. My son, her husband-to-be, and my husband were watching a football game while Emily and I were having an absolute blast getting all dressed up and taking photographs. And at one point in the costume design part of it, Emily said to me, Miss Maggart, I just can't look like this painting. And I'm going, don't worry, because the Rubenesque woman is a very voluptuous, very full-figured lady. I said, let me tell you, don't worry about it. I've got Photoshop. I can fix it. No, whatever you need, I can get it. So don't worry about that. So she said, okay. So she comes out, and she's dressed in her beautiful garb and looking absolutely beautiful. And the very first frame was the best one that I took. And it was because she was relaxed. It was because she wasn't trying to look like, the painting. She was just being herself, her beautiful Emily's eyes. And there's a verse in Philippians that says, "He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it." Okay.
He who began a good work in you, he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. He'll be faithful to complete it. He who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. If the struggle you're facing is slowly replacing your hope with despair, or the process is long and you're losing your song in the night, well, you can be sure the Lord has his hand on you, safe and secure. He will never abandon you. You are his treasure, and he finds his pleasure in you. Oh, he who began a good work in you, he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. He'll be faithful to complete it. He who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. Oh, he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. He'll be faithful to complete it. He who started the work will be faithful to complete it in you. He who began a good work in you
Thank you, Angel. Well, that concludes our drawings tonight and Angel's music, but if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. If you'd like to address something to Angel or myself. Okay. Well, I have a quote from Francis Schaeffer, the great theologian, and this is what I think he would like for us to always remember. Find it here. Francis Schaeffer said that no work of art is more important than the Christian's own life, and every Christian is called upon to be an artist. He may have no gift of writing, no gift of composing or singing, but each man has the gift of creativity in terms of the way he lives his life. So I think that helps us all realize that we all are creative. We all have something to give. And we're all dreamers and schemers. So that includes every one of you. Thank you. Thanks, Donna, for letting us come tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita and Angel. And this has been a delight. I am so grateful that you were here and shared your gifts with us. And so Rita and Angel both have some merchandise over here, some books. Angel has a CD, just peruse and purchase. So thank you again
Thank you,
so
Donna.
very much. And thank you all for being here both in person and virtually. And come visit us here at Scarritt Bennett Center.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end.